Who's ready to start off the best hour of their week? Yeah! The microphone's really loud today. Invocation, Mark Polson. Now he's running. Look at this. He's excited.
And we spent a little money on our microphone system, so it projects better. It was not for you, it was for me. Point back at gracious God, heaven, we have gathered together today. I want to take a moment to pause and say thank you. Offer a moment of gratitude and praise. And Father, we just invite your presence to be with us as we go about being leaders in our community, to assist those in need around us. And Father, we are in the season of Advent, a season of preparation for the coming of your Son. Today we just take a moment and say thank you. That's loving arms and grace. While I have the microphone, there's an angel tree back there. Looks like a snowman. Mark, can you come up here and help me real quick? There's an angel tree, and I'm down to the last couple of kids that would love to be blessed this Christmas. We've had a bumper crop this year, but if you haven't had an opportunity to do that, you have an opportunity to meet the snowman, grab a mitten.
Thank you, Mark. Pledge allegiance. Salute. Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
While you're standing, let's have a quick Rotary minute.
Welcome again. So glad you're here. Did you get it all squared away?
I think that she got it all fixed up in there, so that's good. Everything's
I knew brakes weren't going to make it. Well, you shouldn't start it. Well, makes you feel good. Makes you feel good. Anyway, we ran into a concrete a couple of times up in the city.
Calling the fire department on me. I already had a couple of neighbors do that.
Anyway, I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
They're like starting it out. She said something to Christy about God.
Okay.
Mike, how are you? Good to see you.
Why, what have you heard?
All right, if you want to make your way back to your seat. Our Sergeant at Arms today is also running. Wow, everybody's running up here. Jack Weimer. He ran too far. When have I ever taken anything too far, I ask? Right. Okay, I'm the Sergeant at Arms, which means I get to fine you for doing terrible things. And but everyone's going to be fined today $1 for breathing the air. myself winded running up here. Anyway, but I will pay your fine if you know the answer to some historical trivia questions. On this day, today is December 11th, on this day in 1938, King Edward of England abdicated his throne because he wanted to date his American sweetheart, Wallis Simpson. You can't date an American divorcee and be the King of England. So, for me to pay your fine, which number was he? Was he number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Anybody? Raise your hand. There's a 6 there. Nope. Not a 7th. 8th is correct. Edward the 8th. All right. I will pay your fine. And that was on this day in 1938. On this day in 1972, the last humans that we know of walked on the moon. Eugene Cernan and Jack Schmitt. Okay? What else did they do on the moon that no one had ever done before?
Get a golf ball.
Hit a golf ball? No. What? Planted the flag? Nope. A lot of people did all those things. Anybody? They sang. They were walking on the moon singing the I'm strolling on the moon one day in the merry month of December, as it turns out. Okay, what happened to Jack Schmitt, who was the geologist after that?
He won American Idol.
No. No, he didn't. Where's Berwin? Berwin, you know this. What happened to Jack Schmitt? He became the United States Senator from New Mexico. Okay. That was on this day in 1972. On this day in 1941, Adolf Hitler declared war on the United States 4 days after Pearl Harbor. Come on, Ivan, you remember that day, right? Yeah, you were there. All right, so for me to pay your fine, what was Adolf Hitler's middle name? Come on, this is one of the most infamous humans on the earth. What was his middle name? Wow, I'm so disappointed. Come on, Jim Corbett, you know these things. All right, sorry. He's over here looking at his watch. You're the one who waited till 12:20 to start, dude. Okay, his middle name was Alois. His full name was Adolphus Alois Hitler. If your name was Alois, you'd be pretty frisky and hard to deal with, too. Kind of that boy named Sue thing, right? Nobody got that one.
You're really on a roll.
Yeah, I really am. And the rest is, there was this House Judiciary thing on this day in 1998 where a president was impeached. I'm not even going to get into it because I know you'll know nothing about that. So, put $1 in the thing, and thank you so much, guest star exempt. Awesome. Thank you, Jack.
Rotarian of the day is Marvin Doak, and I don't believe he is here. Students of the month are Derringer Hollenbach, if you want to give a big wave over there, Derringer. And Ella Kernan. They are picking up the blue buckets as we speak. Caterer today is Mulligans. Let's give them a big thank you for lunch. We have a few guests with us today. We have 2 Interact students, Abby Byers, if you want to give us a wave. And Maddie Montgomery. With Louise, we have Cassie Kennedy. Casey Kennedy, sorry. And with Phyllis Hudecki, we have Craig Plum. And with Carrie Stewart, we have Joyce Churchwell. And she's a potential member, and I'm told that she may have had her application sort of filled out, right? Okay, good. She's getting close. Diane Hampton, are you
have 2 Red Badge members. They've been waiting to get this done, but we've been waiting on Charlie for weeks to get. But anyway, we have the first one. I'll just turn it over to Charlie to introduce Gideon Carter.
It's a great day in Rotary Club. I'm very proud to introduce you guys to my son-in-law, Gideon Carper. Get over here. I know Christy's also quite proud. I'm actually the sponsor, but as we've taught all of our kids, Rotary's been a big part of our family for a long time. Matter of fact, many of you don't realize that not only do I have my wife in Rotary, but my mother is in Rotary, and now my son-in-law is going to be a Rotarian. Gideon is a Grove boy, has been dating my daughter since she was a freshman in high school. They got married a couple, 3 years ago. He graduated from Oklahoma State University. Studied finance, also served our country as a combat medic for the Oklahoma National Guard. Gideon spent the last 4 years in San Diego working for a defense, or a company that sells to defense contractors, basically building ships in the San Diego Bay Area. But I convinced him to bring my daughter and move back here closer to home, and I'm very proud to bring him on board in my business with Wells Fargo Advisors. And he started in April and is going to be a part of the team. So it's been fun to bring him back home and now to introduce him not just to Rotary. By the way, Gideon's already on a committee and has been to a couple meetings on the Dolly Parton committee. So Bud wrote to me before he was even close to being a member. So anyway, please help me welcome Gideon Carter.
Thank you, Charlie. Since you know me better than I know myself, so ever since I was a kid, I knew that Rotary was a force for good, often behind the scenes too. So I felt honored to finally be a part of it. And a lot of you knew me ever since I was 7 years old, and I can't wait to get to know the rest of you. So thank you.
Okay, our next one will be Carrie Stewart with Amanda Davis as his sponsor. Amanda and I didn't plan this outfit today. It's pink and black and white striped day. Yeah, come over here so they can see us here. So I'm excited to introduce Carrie today. When I came into the Grove Chamber a year ago last week, which is crazy, Carrie's one of my first friends that I made. He was just getting introduced in the community, and I was getting introduced in the community. And if you know me well, you know I have a lot of energy. And Carrie was one of the first people that told me I probably shouldn't have caffeine at noon. But and he still tells me that. But I'm so excited for him to join this family, and I'm going to let him share a few things about himself.
Hi. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Carrie Stewart. I founded a nonprofit with Bliss, and we give back to the community as much as we can with life-changing modalities for veterans, essential personnel, and first responders. I've been doing this work for 10 years, and I have literally been having the opportunity to change thousands of veterans, essential personnel, first responders, and Department of Corrections. It's good to be back from Oklahoma. My wife and I have lived in Burns Flat, Woodward, Bonita, all right? And we ended up back here in Grove, and she just told me when we moved to this final location, we're never moving again. And she's finally back home, and she's glad to be back into this community. And so I just want to let you guys know that I'm here for each and every single one of you. As awkward as this may sound, that I love and accept each and every one of you. And that this is a community that I'm really excited to be a part of. And I cannot wait to the impact that we're going to make for next year. I can promise you that 2025 will be the best year of our lives. So thank you for this opportunity to connect. If there's anything I can do, let me know. And I could talk for hours if you haven't realized that.
One more thing too is that his wife Tammy was our $10,000 winner Friday night. She shopped local at Tulsa Dining House, and she was the very first ticket that we pulled out, so that was super exciting.
Yep. So thank you.
Gideon, back up. Charlie knows the drill. Okay, here's Gideon and Carrie becoming Red Badge members. Let's give them a warm welcome.
Awesome. Congratulations, you two. do. We're lucky and excited to have you both. If you've got a Rotary announcement, please make your way to the front. We do have a board meeting after this meeting, and anybody have announcements? Jack Weimer. Have any of you ever wanted to be a disc jockey? I need a DJ in January for the Dolly Parton Day. If you'd like to do some platter spinning and some record playing or make a playlist, I need a volunteer. Did you say platter spinning? Yeah, platter spinning. You know, like the old 78s, doing 78 RPM. Yeah, those things. Anyway, I need a DJ. If you'd like to do that, volunteer, let me know. Brent, is Jeff available? Would Jeff be available? I know he loves that. Todd?
This Saturday, from 7:30 to 10:30 is our last pancake breakfast at the Masonic Lodge, and the proceeds of this pancake breakfast are going to the Shop with a Cop program. And so we need you all to come out and support that. And we will be applying for matching funds for all the proceeds.
Awesome. Chrissy?
I each year help our hospital foundation with a program we call Secret Santa, and we're a little different than most of the Angel Tree programs in that we are looking for families. We usually just help them 1 year that have had a major crisis, catastrophe, illness, something really and truly beyond their control, and then we go in and give them an amazing Christmas, better Christmas than my kids usually get. I don't advertise it like on Facebook because then I get inundated with people who need some help for Christmas, but not necessarily at the level we provide. So I kind of put the word out to people I know. If you know a family that has had something horrible happen to them, I mean, I have a family right now where the mom was just diagnosed with cancer and can barely make it to work, and they're just really struggling. We've helped people who've had car accidents, house fires, again, any sort of health or major catastrophe. Please give their name to me. I find that these people never reach out on their own. I don't think I've ever had a family like this reach out to me. It's always somebody that knows them. And then, of course, if you are looking for a way to impact a family like that, you'd like to make a donation to our foundation, it's tax deductible, and I'd be happy to help you with that as well.
Thank you, Christy. Ron, are you ready? He's going to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Luke Nowlin. Here you go.
Thank you. It's my honor and pleasure, really, to introduce Luke Nowlin. He's the son of Joe and Brenda Nowlin and grew up in Grove. And he was at a young age, he was interested in learning about and exploring all the world around him. After that, he attended high school, of course, here. Then he went to the University of Tulsa and graduated in 2011 with a bachelor's in accounting. But then what was interesting, and this is the first time I met him, was later that year he made a 3,800-mile transcontinental journey across America on horseback, calling his trip In Search of America. Anyway, after that he returned and went to the University of Mississippi and graduated with a master's in business administration in 2013. And then he and his father Joe Nowlin started LJ Properties, which is a small commercial real estate company in Grove, focusing on local rental properties. But then after that, he wasn't done. He joined the United States Navy in 2013 and went to officer candidate school in Newport, Rhode Island. And after 3 years of flight school in Pensacola, Florida, he earned his wings as a naval flight officer. Spent 4 years in the Navy flying the F-18F Super Hornet with the Strike Fighter Squadron 11, which included multiple deployments to the 5th Fleet in the area of operations. He went on to become a flight instructor, teaching new aviators to employ the Super Hornet tactically in a number of different environments. In 2022, he resigned his commission with the Navy with over 1,200 hours on the Super Hornet and 230 carrier-arrested landings. So after he returned to Grove after that and joined his father Joe in Applied Products, which is a construction business, and he serves as a project manager then last year, in 2023, he married his wife Chelsea, and they have their home here in Grove, about 2 blocks from our house. They're both avid hikers and just enjoy the outdoors. So anyway, it's my pleasure to introduce Luke Nowlin.
Thank you, guys. I'm glad to be here today. I was invited by Jamie Perryman to do this, and so this really isn't my bag of tricks to talk about myself a lot, but I'm going to talk a little bit about my trip across the country, and some people find that interesting. Can you guys all hear me all right? I'm not? Okay, great. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about my military service. I have a PowerPoint slide. I would like to kind of have a format. I know a lot of people give a presentation, ask for questions at the end. If there's questions throughout, I would love for you guys to engage me with some questions, because I'm just going to kind of add a little bit. I do have a little bit of what I used in the Navy when I was leading sailors, kind of a leadership philosophy I'll share with you at the end of things kind of I've learned over my life and interactions with some great people across the country. So you could, wait, there's a clicker here. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to start with just sharing a little bit about my trip across the country. When I was growing up, my dad rode a horse from when he was a young man. He told me about it when I was growing up. From Oklahoma City to Colorado Springs, which is like 750 miles. But I grew up and I said I wanted to ride all the way across the country because 750 miles isn't that far. But I'd never ridden that far, so I was wrong. So yeah, I said I was going to do it, and so after college, I set out. I started with a friend. We had 3 horses, each riding a horse and a pack horse. And that was our first day. This was Emerald Isle, North Carolina. This is on the ocean. Obviously, you got to get wet on both sides for it to count, you know. So there we started. My friend stayed with me for about a month, and then he just kind of found out he wanted to do something different. And so he went home and I sent the pack horse. I ended up just riding the rest of the trip by myself and with just one horse. And so I'm going to show a few pictures. This is an interesting picture to me because this is the largest dogwood in the world. Right here, this is in North Carolina, in Clinton, North Carolina. So I find that picture interesting because I really do like nature and trees and kind of taking care of things like that. So anyway, interesting picture to me. We moved from North Carolina, and then we went into Tennessee right there on the border in Asheville. You understand that this is at the Biltmore, which crazy things would happen, and that's what I want to share is kind of the message of things that I learned from people, is that you are always, you never know like where the gratitude or generosity of people around you is. But we are so busy just working a list in our lives, like wake up every morning, what do I need to get done, where do I need to go, who do I need to meet with. Work on that list all day, and then at the end of the day, whatever doesn't get done, you just swipe over to the next day and start the list again. I think very few people, responsible people, just take the time to go out in the world and say, I'm going to have like intimate encounters with people. I'm going to take time to just go see people and see what happens. And so when you don't have anything to do and all you have is a horse, you have lots of time to just sit at Starbucks and look at people awkwardly and until they have to talk to you. And then magical things happen, really do. You meet really crazy people. So on this trip, I was on the news 18 times. I was in like 32 newspapers. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. I always wanted to go to the Biltmore, and that's where I am. I'm in the barn, little stud barn they had at the Biltmore in North Carolina. I wanted to go to the Biltmore, and so I called and I was like, hey, I want to stay there, Biltmore, for a couple days. And they're like, yeah, you can't just ride a horse on the property. And I was like, I can't. They're like, it's dangerous. And I'm like, well, I'm in downtown Charlotte, passing the Bank of America building on my phone, on a horse, right now. And they're like, yeah, we'll have to get back with you, whatever. But then I was on the news that night, and then they said, well, we'd love to have you, and we'd love to do a news story on you too. So I ended up going to there and I was sitting there, right there, where this picture was taken, and the daughter of the man who owns the Biltmore has horses in that barn, and she came in, she's like, what's this dude sleeping in my barn? You know, like I was just laying down in there, and anyway, she gave me like a Biltmore credit card. I stayed for like 4 or 5 days, and I could go eat at all the restaurants or the winery, and I got to go to her house, and she's like a billionaire, so that's pretty cool. And I didn't even ask for any of that. I just was sleeping in the barn. So that's the kind of unique scenarios of stuff that happens. I'll move on. This guy and his wife, this is in New Mexico. He's got like a bridal collection, several thousand bridals. He has 4 or 5 bridals that were kind of like collectors. He has bridal from Pancho Villa. He's a silversmith, interesting guy. I actually was back in Santa Fe this year and actually stopped by and had him work on a little bit of silver stuff I ordered from him. It's actually super interesting, cool place. This is obviously the redwoods and the sequoias. So I was up there, I was able to go up into the sequoias and ride in there for like 3 or 4 days. Super awesome experience. I think the next picture, this picture is really meaningful to me because the gentleman that his name's Al, who's in this picture, actually calls me and keeps up with me probably about every other week. He's now in his 90s, but yeah, he called me for Thanksgiving last week, 2 weeks ago. Just still have a great relationship with him, as I do with many other people that I met along the way. This is one of those times I was on TV. Here's an interesting story here that I just stopped into with a family. They were having a family reunion, and I ended up staying for 3 or 4 days then with their whole family and enjoying that family reunion. That's the crazy thing is just how people would welcome you in their homes. Lots of times you find yourself in a bad situation. I rode 102 days over 100 degrees. Because of the way I was going from east to west, I ended up being like in the desert for a really long time, and Oklahoma was like always hot the entire time. It was like the worst. Oklahoma was the worst place to be. And you would think like other places were better, but I got to Flagstaff and I met some people that were hauling some horses across the country, and they were in the draft horse community, very prominent people, and they more or less have a National Draft Horse Association with a book with everyone's names in it and their addresses. So she just gave me that book, and she's like, just call these people if you're like within 40 miles. And it turns out everyone who owns draft horses, they're very expensive and they're very hungry, and they have like hitches, so they're all fairly capable of helping. They have trailers and people that work for them, so that actually made the western part of the United States like so much easier. It's like, oh, you have like 20 horses in your barn. I'm an afterthought, like thanks. But anyway, this was a great family. We had a great time for about a week. Very interesting story here. My man Mark Morris will appreciate this. This guy was a cop. He saw me on TV, pulls over, and he's like, yeah, I just wanted to talk to you, see what's going on. Like, I saw you on TV, but my kids were really interested in the story. I'd love to get a picture with you. This was like when sticks weren't a thing. So he's like trying to take a picture. He's like, it's not really looking that good. It's not coming out. He's like, just meet me down the road 100 yards. He hops in his car, and the next car that comes over, he just pulls that lady over and asks her to get out and take a picture. I don't know if that's supposed to be done or not. But he did it, and it was cool. It was totally cool. Here's a picture of me in Northern California. A lady that has a horse at a barn I was staying at was a photographer, and so as I was riding out of that barn, she stopped and took some pictures of me as I was leaving town there. Oh yeah, he will do it. Yeah. And I still have this horse. Yeah, I rode him for this. This is in at the Ridgewood Ranch, which if you guys have ever seen Seabiscuit, he was raised here at the Ridgewood Ranch, and he actually was raised, or kept, not raised totally, but kept in his later years when he was racing in a 4-stall barn. And that barn's only been used for 2 horses ever, Seabiscuit, and then he had a son called Sea Solver, which was also a fairly successful racehorse. And then it's a museum now at the Ridgewood Ranch there. But they actually took all the pictures off the stall and let me keep my horse in there overnight in the museum, which was really cool. Go ahead.
Rotary's on the Willis, Northern California. He built that. And I was part of the
crew that rebuilt that barn.
Oh yeah, it was right there in Willits. Yeah, it's a beautiful place, isn't it? Yep. And I'm sure you're familiar with the albino deer there that are just everywhere out there in the nature. Really cool area. We could talk a lot about that area. But that's me. And then this is the end of my trip in Northern California. I finished in Fort Bragg. So overall, it was about 18 and a half miles a day. It took me 6 months to the day to get that trip done. A lot of stuff that happened was about the horse, and people were very interested in the horse. But really, for me, it wasn't ever about the horse. It was about the people. You know? When you go up to someone's house and you're riding a motorcycle, and you're like, "Hey, I'd like to spend the night." They're like, "Yeah, the Motel 8's down the street, bro." And but if you have a horse and you're just like, "Hey, I'd like to get some water for my horse," they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Riding across the country." Of course, the first night I only made it like 6 miles from the coast. He's like, "You haven't made it very far yet." And unfortunately, that gentleman passed away about 2 years ago. But we kept in contact pretty regularly. As a matter of fact, I drove back to his house when I was stationed on the East Coast a couple times to see him. But anyway, when you have a horse, it really breaks down that barrier. People are like, "Honey, there's a horse in the front yard." And then, in general, I would ride early in the morning, be done by 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, get up at 4, pound out 20 miles, and then just get my horse to start recuperating as fast as possible. Calorie count's a big deal. Getting them to calm down, cool down, and they're not going to eat for 2 or 3 hours, really. So that's important. But as I did, people just, you know, they're like, "Oh yeah, you can sleep under that tree over there." And then they're like, "Oh, we're going to town for lunch. You want to go grab a burger?" And you go eat lunch. They're like, "We need to go by and pick up some stuff," or "I need to go work on this project," or whatever. And you end up going to work with them for a little while. Next thing you know, they're like, "You're not sleeping under the tree. Come on, stay on the couch or you can get guest bedroom." So it's really incredible how many people you can just knock on their door and you end up staying in their house for the night. And when you think about that, that seems really strange, but like even within yourselves, like how well do you know people that are like you go to church with, like really know people, or that you work with? Like some people you know really well, but a lot of people are acquaintances. When you go into someone's house that didn't know you were coming, they didn't clean up the house, they didn't fix a special meal, they didn't. You enter their house and you're, you know, very vulnerable. All you have is a saddlebag, and that's all you got in the world. It's a real intimate experience. You get to really know who someone is, and so you really quickly. They don't put on a show for you because they're more or less homeless, so they don't care. And so you get to know who they are, and really quickly, I've had a lot of interactions with people, and I have friends that, I mean, we'll get dozens of Christmas cards from those people to this day. It's been 15 years. So, yeah, it's just, it's a real crazy environment that you get to go into. And it was all about the people. So many different stories of crazy stuff that happened to me where people would just come and save the day when I thought I was in the middle of nowhere, or take me to some place that's just off the road. And I called it life-saving because every day, each one of you has something that's unique in your life. You have a special place, you have a man cave, you have friends that have a waterfall, or something to see, or some unique thing in your life. And it's all exciting for the day, but our lives kind of get monotonous for each one of us individually. And if you get to just go and take the best part of each of your lives from all of you, well, then you get an entire 6 months of really great experience. That's all I have to share about my horse trip. If you guys have questions about it, we can circle back to that at the end. Also, Jamie wanted me to touch on my military service. So yeah, I was in the Navy for 10 years. Flew Super Hornets. Both of my combat tours were off the East Coast and on the Harry S. Truman. So did that, and then I ended up in California training new pilots coming up for 3 years out there. So it was a really cool experience. I always wanted to do it, and there's nothing quite like coming off the front of the boat. But it's not a great lifestyle as you start to build a family. Fighter culture is pretty toxic, but it's also like just really enjoyable too. So it's a lot of fun. Most professionals professional people in the world as far as work is concerned. So, here's when I first got qualified in the Super Hornet. This is in Virginia Beach. This is flying out of off the coast of Norway. We ended up doing Arctic ops at that time. Really crazy experience flying up in the Arctic. The boat was moving 40 to 50 feet up and down a day. I mean, during the day, flight ops, we had up to a foot of snow on the flight deck. It's pretty crazy, pretty cold, and pretty wild flying off. At times, you get behind the boat, maybe a quarter mile behind the boat, see the screws come out, and just be looking off the ship. Going, I guess. So, anyway, yep, the Arctic Ocean is not to be messed with. But this is coming back from combat ops in Syria, which obviously Syria's, you'll finish that up strong. Anyway, yeah, we flew out of the Eastern Med off the coast of Cyprus, went through Turkey into northern Syria, and at the time we were doing quite a few operations there, counter ISIS operations. This is my best man at my wedding, my best friend. His name's Stephen Graham, and I got to see him on Thanksgiving, but we were naming the same planes because we're nerds. But anyway, that was a this is over Turkey, getting some gas. And this is going through the Strait of Gibraltar. It's just cool. So we got a 4-minute video that I'm going to play. It's just kind of like a highlight reel. Most everything in this video is either with me or Steve that we took, or some guys that we took the video of them off our wing when we were flying the Navy. So I'll play this and then I'll hit up some questions. Okay, so that's the inline. So that's, and I got the old wife thrown in there on the last. So Steve made that video for me, my best friend there. So they actually introduced us. So so that's all I got as far as like my sharing. Is there any questions out there? Yeah, that's a good question. So originally we had a pack horse. We were trying to carry some feed. More or less, my horse at the time was eating about 22 pounds a day grain. Most people, if you're a horse people, would know that'll probably kill your horse today. It would kill mine. That's a slow work of time. Historically, there's not a lot of people that do ride horses like that anymore. Even back in the day, like if you look at military movements traditionally, let's say Civil War and before that, any kind of combat scenario that would happen within 400 miles, they would send cavalry as a first response. But actually, I left on my horse, you left walking, you're going to walk past me around 400 miles, and I'll never catch up. So maintenance, a horse is really difficult. They can't self-diagnose. So yeah, I would buy a bag of feed, more or less feed out about a third of it. Then the next 12 to 14 hours, I fill up 2 super heavy-duty Ziplocs, throw them in my saddlebags for that night, and then I need another bag for 2 days. He got to where he need anything, wherever oats, grain, strategy, brand, sweet beet, you have it. The big thing is just getting calories in him as fast as possible. That was like my main concern. And also you can't feed all of it at once, so you're getting up like several times at night, feed them now. Yeah, so if I was outside sleeping, I would just have them all set out. Any other questions?
You've had quite an exciting life for a young man. What is the most fun thing you've done in your life so far?
Oh, the most fun thing? I don't know. I don't know. From a rush perspective, I mean, there's nothing better than a day flying off the ship was awesome. Living on the ship sucked. Okay? Like once you're in the plane, it's cool. Living off the ship was not cool. But it's a unique experience because all the people, like an air wing, you get to know everybody, and it's also it's very non-Air Force style. Everything's zip whip, everything's very choreographed, so it's all procedural. There's not a lot of communication, so you can almost tell what everybody in their individual airplanes are thinking before they do. So like coming aboard the ship, there's no radio call for bringing. It's all timing and planned. You just do it. Just look outside, see the other guy. That's a cool experience to have that many people. You guys will never understand it, and so it's unique to have that many people there. So understand.
Luke, what was your call sign and how did you get it?
My call sign was Mr. Hands. There's a thing on the ship that you can manipulate on the screen that has all the people that are airborne, their fuel states and whatnot. And I got my cursor. There's a watch you have to do as an officer at a certain time, and I got cursor stuck over there and manipulated it and destroyed it. So yeah, that's how I got it.
Just want to say how impressed I am. I've only done multiple 8-day rides. This young man accomplished a huge thing, stand on a horse that long. It's quite a piece of talent, a horse and rider. I'm just sorry you got married. You love all the things I love. I'm single. And I'm too old.
Luke wants to say thank you so much.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. So not only this guy rode horseback across the United States, but he's also like Top Gun in real life.
I didn't go to Top Gun.
Right. I just mean the movie. And that is my bucket list. If you could say one thing I could ever do, it'd be taken off in an FA-18 off an aircraft carrier. So I'm very envious that you got to do that. Great program, great stuff. Can you stay around for a couple minutes for other questions? Yeah. Perfect. Appreciate that very much. Next week, we're going to have the Wyandotte Nation Chief, Billy Friend, here. Don't forget, board meeting immediately after this. Tables and chairs. Ken will tell us how high we're going to stack them, but we're going to leave tables and get out 7 metal chairs. Everybody wants to stand for the 4-way test. And all the things that we think, say, or do. Truth. And is it fun?
I'm embarrassed I didn't even recognize you, brother. It's been a long time since I saw you. Yeah, great. Oh, that's all.
I just went, did you say?
Hey, Rob. Maybe you, bro.
I get it. His name is Gino.
Makes you feel like you're in that.
Me? See you proud of you.
He's like 23. Yeah, no, this guy, he's right at 23.
You know what an old fighter pilot does to have fun?
Yeah.
In my living room, a stick out of F4
Yeah.
and a bottle out of F16.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, with a couple of drinks, you can go fly.
I started to say on the mic, I wanted you to meet this guy.
Oh, we know each other.
We
We
used
lived
to
across the
live
street.
when I was a kid.
Yeah, I knew him when he was this tall.
Oh, man, I love all that place. I don't get to marry him. I think
Okay.
thanks for
Okay.
your service.
Now, and I'll tell you what, I didn't know you lived here, but I might get you to help me in a project. I've got one mannequin in a white suit, G-suit,
Yeah.
harness, and all that stuff, and they're moving it back and forth between Mazio and the airport.
Oh, yeah?
Anytime the city air patrol has a meeting or something, they move it out there, or if they had a group coming in, they want it on display. We need to make another one.
Oh, yeah?
And if you want to come with me to Tulsa International Bar, scavenge a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some flight suits too you can have. I mean, I can get, if you want flight suits, I've got a pile of flight suits. I don't have.
I've got a green one and an orange one.
Oh, yeah? I don't have the orange ones.
Well, the green one was for when you're flying high.
Yeah.